Yeah. Yeah, I'll try to end then too. Sometimes lose track of time. So yeah, we have library instruction for HSF 90. Again, I'm Professor Thomas Cleary, and that's my email address, tcleary@lagcc.cuny.edu. For my email, I'm the librarian for this class too. You'll be getting an email, or you've gotten emails also from a personal librarian. And you might see emails from other librarians coming up. Just be aware you can contact any of us for anything. If you have questions about this class, send me an email or reach out to your like the C2C librarian, and we'll be there to answer your questions. We know, like, being remote, it's hard to figure out who to get in touch with. So just any of us, that's the rule. We're all available. We also have this Ask a Librarian service running. It's an online chat for our reference services. It's open from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. And also we have hours on the weekends, ending at 4. Those are also places where if you're just on the library website, you get stuck at a certain point, you're just not sure where to start. Maybe you're doing another assignment, it's been a month or two since, or even a semester since you last saw the library website. We're just there sort of waiting for you to run into issues so we can help you out. So using the library, in this slideshow, we also have some links to different parts of the website, but our services are changing during the semester, and they'll be different in January and probably different in March again. We're hoping to be fully open in March. Right now we have some limited in-person services, so most of our seating areas are not open, but we do have in this top part of the library website of the library status, which will give you some updates. And we have added a student tab to our library website that just sort of summarizes lots of things I'll talk about here and other things that we think you guys find important. If there's something you want to see on the website, we're also open to suggestions for things that other people, like a problem you keep on running into or something like that. It's things like covering citation help, questions about the college in general, how to do different demo videos of how to interact with databases. Some classes ask you to use LinkedIn Learning, and there's links to that too. So right now our in-person library services we have drop-off and pickup services for circulating books. So you can go check out books in the library. You just have to do it remotely. And there's a video here that will walk you through it. Or you can just ask us in chat and just be like, how do I check out a book? And someone will send you a link to the video. It'll involve some searching, so I'll show you guys how to do some searching too. We do have an IT lab on the second floor of the library. It's just computers open for maybe you're just trying to use it as a study space too, just outside the home, or if you're on campus to do in between classes. Computers are set up for Zoom, so they even have a camera if you need it. You can talk, just keep in mind that there are other people around you, so depend on how many people are around. Right now, the campus is still pretty empty, so there's plenty of space to come by. You do not need to set up an appointment. You can it's all walk-ins available. All you need is proof of vaccination to get onto campus. We're also temporarily letting people borrow DVDs, CDs, and audiobook players. Audiobook players you can always check out, but we just have more material from media available that we didn't before. We do offer also scans of chapters of textbooks. Normally in the library, we offer textbooks on reserve, so you can go into the library, check textbook out for 2 hours, come back, and then just return it when you're done with that, or for also 3-day and 7-day loans. And right now, since we don't have that service available, because the seating areas are mostly closed, we do have it where you can, if you come into chat, ask us to submit a request for a chapter or 2 chapters of a textbook. We'll scan it as soon as possible and get it to you. Usually it takes 2 to 3 days. It's a small group of people doing it. So if you don't get an email back after you put in a request soon, send out a reminder. Just be like, hey, when do you think this book will come in? And we'll get back to you as soon as possible. We also have just ebooks and online textbooks available in general. Those are available through OneSearch, which is our main search platform. And I'll show you differences between OneSearch and some of the other databases too. These are ebooks, are things that you can either download to your computer as a PDF. Some you have to read in a browser, but they're all free to use and usually have unlimited use too. We also have some public libraries. I'm sure you're familiar with those too. So just a reminder that public libraries are available. So if you need some books for an English 101 class or something else where it's a novel and we might not have it, the public libraries usually do. And if you need help getting access to them, we can help you out with either NYPL or Queens and Brooklyn public libraries, since they're all different systems. So this brings us to online research with databases and why you would use a library in general. So has anyone here used the library website before for research?
Yes.
Okay, great. For looking up articles?
Yes.
Okay. I say it looks like some people haven't, some people have. So yeah, so for the people who have done it, this might be like a refresher for you, or you might just be like, yeah, I already know how to do this. But the reason you use the library website is that we offer different services and different types of information you'd find on Google. Yeah, you can look up anything in Google. Yeah, you'll get millions of results back. But when you're doing research, you don't want millions of results back. You want a small set of things that you can understand, a small set of things to pick from, because that usually means you can pick better quality results. And at the library, we subscribe to different databases. These are paid subscriptions. Parts of your tuition and tech fees go to these. And we help you do what we call smart searches. So sort of understanding these are the words I need to put into this computer system to make sure I get the things I want back out. So it's working with it a little bit differently than Google. These are also articles that, as a library, we've verified. We haven't verified every single article, but we verified the databases. We know that these are good sources of information, academic sources of information, and they'll cover the needs for your class. Where searches on Google, you'll have to end up deciding that yourself. We have the 3 popular databases are Academic Search Complete, which is great for scholarly articles and magazines. We have Gale eBooks, which is sort of like a verified Wikipedia. So it's more traditional encyclopedia articles that you can cite, while Wikipedia articles, the professor might not let you cite in your paper. And we have also access to lots of news articles if you need to do research on the news. We also offer citation help. Some of you may have done MLA for classes. In this class, you'll need to use APA. And it's just different citation styles. I'll show you how to get them out of the database and then how to check them against a guide, since a lot of these articles or the citations generated by the databases, usually there's 1 or 2 things wrong with it too, which are really easy to fix. So this will bring us to cultural competence. So before, that was just things about intro to library. Cultural competence, this is more about the assignment. We'll go over your topic is cultural competence in healthcare, how it fits into your, the thing you're specializing in, whether it's nursing, radiology, veterinary science. And how to do a research based off this topic. So cultural competence, just quickly, is it's a consideration of the individual social, cultural, and psychological needs of patients for effective cross-cultural communication with their healthcare providers. It's just sort of being aware that people have different backgrounds of you. You have professional knowledge, and you have to figure out a way to now deal with the people part of every medical issue that comes up. So it's just clear communication type things. And it's also being aware of that, like some groups have different opinions of medical systems than other groups based off of like systemic racism, language barriers, who knows what. So it'll be up to you as people working with people to sort of have to navigate that in your day-to-day jobs. So I'm going to show a video, and that third bullet really is the most important. So when you're looking at this video, watching video is good too, but like pay attention to like if some words stand out to you, think of them as keywords and think about how they're talking about some of these topics, and think about how you might want to talk about an issue in the same way, or add that to your research. So I'll show you, I'll leave it vague a bit now, what I mean by that. But we'll show you a video and go for this too. For the video, 2 questions to think about also is how does cultural competence affect your major? And what can you do to make yourself more culturally competent in your field? They'll change between the field too.
Governmental regulations and the Joint Commission for Accreditation of Healthcare Organizations, JCAHO, require that all healthcare facilities practice culturally competent care. Meeting this mandate appears daunting, as ethnic groups once relatively isolated within national borders now actively move around the planet, and we have reached unprecedented levels of cultural diversity. As populations in many countries become increasingly diverse, so does the difficulty in learning the specifics regarding culturally related behavior. Achieving cultural competency requires that we have an understanding of the major components of human culture, that we understand our own biases, and that we are knowledgeable regarding the customs and expectations of those cultures we commonly encounter.
The purpose of this series is to provide tools to enable you to meet these goals. We'll discuss some specifics from various cultures, and we'll show how just by listening and observing, you can interact with your clients in a productive, effective, and culturally sensitive manner.
Traditionally, culture is viewed as being related to race, religion, language, and country of origin.
Cultures contain many divergent groups called subcultures, which directly affect how people think, act, and view others.
These subcultures include occupation, economic or social class, age group, and political affiliations.
People also find themselves grouped because of the presence of physical disabilities, deformities, developmental delays, or physical or mental illnesses.
Sometimes it's easier to see our differences
rather than see what makes us alike.
This woman is 30 years old and unmarried. She is Vietnamese, born in Saigon. This man is 45 years old, married with grown children. He is African American and was born in Los Angeles. It is hard to imagine that these 2 individuals have any common ground. However, they are both physicians who work in a major medical center.
Howdy. I didn't know you were here today. I'm just checking out one of the patients.
They share an enormous amount of knowledge and experience. This woman is in her mid-30s and paraplegic from a spinal defect. She has had multiple surgeries. Though intellectually normal, frequent hospitalizations have interrupted her attempts to complete training programs and left her dependent on public assistance. She is politically active on behalf of those with physical and cognitive disabilities. This woman is 46 years of age and in excellent health. She has a master's degree, is a successful real estate broker, and is politically indifferent. These two women appear to be poles apart, with no common ground until you realize they are both single mothers. But the real question is, how do our individual attributes and experiences impact our ability to live and work together?
Increasing cultural diversity makes effective communication more challenging. In healthcare, the difficulty is increased because we see people at their most vulnerable.
People of all ethnicities, ideologies, and economic levels come to us because they're sick or injured. They're frequently frightened and may also be in pain.
When a patient has a cultural orientation that's different than our own, we may find that techniques we normally employ during interactions are less effective or simply don't work.
All human beings have beliefs and biases based on both cultural heritage and life experiences. These can become filters through which others are viewed.
Acceptance of this is the first step in learning to work effectively in a multicultural environment.
For the healthcare worker, this is particularly important. Every day, we are called upon to assess and work with people from diverse political, religious, and social beliefs, as well as ethnic and economic backgrounds. Their only true commonality is they need health care.
All right. So yeah, it's a short video, but it serves to like introduce you to it. What were some things that stood out to you in that video as something that you might want to look into for research? Sorry. Well, we chose some for you too, in case you guys weren't sure what to think. So as an example from the video, just this example when it's just focused on language barriers and how language barriers like decrease patient satisfaction and quality of care and increase the likelihood of medical error. So it's just based off of the thing like, all right, like you see this probably every day, whether you're like getting on bus to go to work or to school. You just, especially at LaGuardia, if you've been on campus, you've all heard like many languages, different accents. And it's just sort of the idea like, okay, this person is talking a bit differently from me. They have different levels of education. How do I negotiate like communicating in just a clear way? Even with me talking and at the library too, we do this every day. As just sort of keeping in mind like words they're using, or some things might need a bit more explaining than others. So that's just an example of like a question that came up in the video, and I think it's the phrasing of it too. And for what you guys will be doing for research assignments, or if your professor is talking about, this also applies to other classes, just like the research topic. Like jot down some words that stand out to you and things that you might want to like look up later. Or if you need help with it, you can also just come to us at the library and be like, this is my research topic. You can't put the whole research topic and this example question into a database, but you need to pick out some keywords to search. So here, these are the keywords related to the topic on the left. Cultural competence is there because that's what you have to search for this assignment. Language barriers is another. Spanish is just an example of a language barrier, at least in New York City, which is mostly English speaking. Nursing, because the person in this example was in part of the nursing program and specializing in nursing. And home care, because that's what they were interested in, like in the home care setting. So it's like keywords are pretty flexible. It's a lot of your own input in there too. And you need these to narrow down your topic. Maybe you've had a professor say this to you already, that your topic is too broad and they need to narrow it down. And keywords are a way to narrow it down. If you, professor asks you that, told you that too, you can also come to us and we'll help you narrow it down, or like find something that's interesting to you. So like cultural competence, that's like the first part of a big funnel to get down to your thesis statement. And then you narrow it down by, okay, I'm going to look at nursing and cultural competence. And I'm going to look at home care nursing and language barriers associated with that. And you just sort of work your way down to like a very like small group of things. I'll show you in the databases how this plays out, like very visually. So you can like literally see your search results getting smaller and smaller until you have a small group of articles to choose from. We'll go over this a little bit. If you want to look at these slides on your own, go for it. It goes like a bit more in technical, like how we put together words. The big thing is that you're going to focus on this and I like to focus on the and at least. So we're going to be looking at cultural competency and nursing and something else. And to put it out in a diagram, it's sort of like this Venn diagram. They do puppies and kittens for this one. And if you search a database for puppies, you get one set of results. If you search for kittens, you get another. But if you search for puppies and kittens, you're only going to get the articles that talk about both those topics. In this examples too, you can see that they're always searching 2 keywords at a time. They're doing cultural competency and nursing, cultural competency and language barrier, nursing and language barrier. And that's because you don't want to search to get super narrow. Like you don't want to have 3 keywords in there or 4 keywords in there. Sometimes you do, but usually 2 is like the best way to go about it. And you just pick different articles, and then it's up to you to connect those articles in your paper. But you pick different articles to sort of highlight different points you're trying to make. So this is the assignment. And this is what we'll do. I'll walk you guys through a search. You'll be making an annotated bibliography based off of cultural competency and your major and discipline. We'll be looking for a peer-reviewed article, in the library database, and also look at how to do an APA style citation and where to find the abstract of the article too. And the rest is up to you. And the SSM will go over the details. The LUs will go over the details of uploading it to ePortfolio. All right. So this is the library website. You can get to it at library.laguardia.edu. You can get to it through after you log into my LaGuardia. There's a link in there too. But we're also at the top of the LaGuardia homepage. So just laguardia.edu. Just look for the library on the top. And it brings you to this page. This is the homepage. We have this banner that changes with some new updates. If you're not sure, if we have a Get Help section up here, it just lists Ask a Librarian service, how-to videos, some of the other things I talked about too, just like frequently asked questions. We also have a student tab for just different information you guys might find useful. Some of it's research related, but it's also different services we provide at the library. When you scroll down a bit, we have on the right-hand side this library status thing. And before getting into research, we have this Ask a Librarian tab. We just started in person reference. If you have questions in person, this started today, actually. We are available for questions between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. We're staffed, we have a small amount of people on campus right now, so we can't do more hours. But come by, and there'll be me there, it'll be someone else at the time. We take turns doing this chat. Doing reference. You can also get to us by email if you don't need a question right away, but mostly we have this chat. And this is just, think of it like any website that has that like little chat bubble and do you have a question here? And those, it's a robot talking to you, but here you have librarians, we're waiting for you to ask a question. And just start a chat. You don't need to type anything here. You can start a chat and get help with whatever research topic you're doing, citation help. Maybe you have a question about the college too, just in general, and we'll try to get you to the right information. We also can just check different sources, like a website that you checked and things like that. If chat is closed, then just send us an email and someone will get back to you the next morning with that question. In chat, we can also set up quick Zoom sessions. So if you have the time and you want to see someone, or if you want someone to look at your screen to check something, we can set that up too, just to make it easier, rather than just like typing out like in the top left corner, click here. We could just show you it. The homepage starts you off with one search, and this will search, as that tab says, everything at LaGuardia. So it's all our books, all of our database articles, encyclopedias, ebooks, CDs, like name it. And if we have it, it'll give you back some results on it. It's a little bit like our Google, where it searches everything in the library, but that's going to give you too many results back. It's great if you have a textbook title or a book title. You just type that in there, do a search. I don't have one off the top of my head, so I'm not going to show you, but just do test. When you do a search here, this is what it looks like. You'll see that there's a book called The Text. We actually have it available online. There's that thing here. We have another book here for colored boys that's a pretty depressing title, unfortunately. But we also have it available at the stacks. So that means we have it physically and available online. And if you click on the stacks part, you can sign in using your CUNY First sign in. And request, if you click on hold, request a hold on it so you can pick it up in person at a later point. It shows you other campuses that the book is available, other CUNY campuses the book is available at. So keep in mind that, yes, you're a student at LaGuardia, but you are, right now, because of COVID, things are still up in the air a bit, like depending on the campus. But you do have access to other libraries to either study in person, or if you want to check out books and things like that. Or if you're trying to pick up books, you can also schedule a book to be delivered to the CUNY campus closest to you. So that's one search. It's going to give you a big variety of things. But for this assignment, we know we need to find a peer-reviewed article at a library database. So it's pretty simple. It's straightforward. Sorry, I can't, being blocked at the top. So you can go to this databases link here. And it's just a different tab. Nothing else on this page will change. And we have just links to specific databases. We have, as part of our subscriptions, Academic Search Complete covers a broad range of topics, mostly in humanities and some in social sciences. But you guys are health science students, and we do offer health science specific databases. You can get to the end. There are different ways to get to it. If you know the title of the database that you'll use, I can go there. But you can also use it by the subject that you're interested in. If you click on the subject, we do have the databases listed by the different programs on campus. And if you're in like the criminal justice program, you can go there and look at the databases available there. Since we're in health and nursing right now, you can go to health and nursing databases, and we have databases available there that are more related to what you're searching. So instead of searching through a pool of articles talking about like cultural competence for librarians, anything in this database is going to be focused on nursing, it's going to be focused on radiology and like other health science related things. At this slide, that was after the assignment slide, we'll be using CINAHL Complete to do this database, to do this search. CINAHL Complete is great for if you're just doing a search on nursing or the nursing program. If you're doing stuff like radiology or vet tech, it's not the best for it because those don't fit as neatly into their publication scheme. So there's also PubMed and Medline Complete that are good databases to use. They're, I think, all organized by the same company. So it's going to be the same exact layout of the website and same exact search. But we recommend that everyone starts with CINAHL Complete, just because things will come up. But if you're in vet tech, is Medline listed here? Yeah, you could just scroll down to Medline and do a search there. That's how to do that. All right, and I'll show you how to, if you're doing a search and don't want to go back to start or something up new, how to add every single database in EBSCO to your search. So we're at the EBSCOhost website. We're in this database CINAHL Complete, and time to do a search. The databases are already set up to help you out with your searches. And as you're starting to type it, it starts giving you suggestions. These are suggestions that they know work well with the database system. You have to interact with this a little bit differently than Google. Like instead of typing in something like, how does cultural competence make you a better nurse? You're going to have to just stick with the words cultural competence and nursing. It doesn't handle questions well. It handles like keywords. But you'll see that some of these keywords are longer than others, and they have like this word or in there. And that's a way of structuring your search to be more inclusive, or just different ways of doing your search, really, to change the amount of results you get back. You'll see here it says cultural competence or cultural awareness, cultural competency, and cultural sensitivity. Seeing all those words, are like, oh yeah, okay, they're all talking about things about like understanding other people's culture. They're all related topics. Another thing you might see is like New York. If you type in New York, you'll see New York City or New York or NYC. And that or is a way to cover the different ways people talk about a topic. I picked New York because like we all live in New York. You might talk to New York about New York as the city. You might say New York as Manhattan. You might say New York as just the 5-borough city area, or the state. And it's just different ways of like, okay, people have talked about this one thing, using 5 different words. We're just going to cover all those words because you're talking about a theme there. So if you do a search for this chain of things, something happens that's not supposed to happen. So sometimes this happens. Just be aware. The EBSCO was having some problems today, but I tried it out. It was working fine before I did this. If you run into problems like that, definitely talk to us on chat just to make sure that's not a you problem, that it's like a us problem. All right, so if you run into a problem, you can always do we'll switch over to OneSearch and do a search there. Actually, this would be a good time to point out our help videos. So in the Get Help, the how-to videos, since you will need this for this assignment, we have in the databases articles section how to interact with the different databases that we have. So you have OneSearch, which is what I'll demonstrate now because EBSCOhost isn't working. And we usually have here we go. And under scholarly articles, we have this CINAHL complete cultural competency demo video. And this is something one of the other librarians put together. The website might look a little bit different since it was originally made a few months ago. This in chat so you guys can look at it later. But it'll go over like how to search cultural competency and interact specifically with EBSCOhost. I'll do a search too, and just show you how to look in OneSearch. All the things you do are the same in different databases. It's just a slightly different layout. Let me try. So it looks like Academic Search Complete is working. So we'll just do a search in there. All right, so we're sort of back on track. Sorry about that. So I did a search for cultural competence in Academic Search Complete, and it brings you this list of results. You'll see that the term cultural competence, if you look at these subjects, it's highlighted where it comes up. You can see that a lot of the titles talk about healthcare related things. They talk about medical profession and at large, talk about GYN OB providers specifically, pharmacy specifically. And they sort of talk about it in this like broader level. Things that I don't see. No, I see my first one talking about nursing specifically. I don't see anything about radiology. I don't see anything about veterinary science. They talk a lot about teaching cultural competence. So when you do a search, like always start with something kind of broad and just see what you see, like go over what you see, things that stand out to you. These might be things you might be interested in reading about later too, or including in your research. But it's not anything that supports your assignment right now because it's supposed to be that and cultural competence and your program. So what we'll do is, but you'll also see that we come up with 7,000 results over here. When you do a search in Cin Autocomplete, it should be more, but when you do, but what we'll do now is start narrowing down our search. So you click on advanced. What I like to do is click on advanced search. Other librarians might suggest different things, but if you click on advanced search, it brings you to another page, but it breaks up your search bars. And this is where you could just and we'll do this or thing. And this is where you can do start structuring your searches. I like to do it in these two different fields just so I could see like this is one word I'm looking at, and then just play around with this other word. And just like, start typing in one word and like switch things around, just see what different results you get. So you'll see how with cultural competence veterinary science, you get 11 results. You narrowed 11 results down out of the 7,000 from before. When you do nursing, just stick with nursing. Oh, I spelled nursing wrong. It's going to be a bit slow since EBSCO is having some problems. So when you do cultural competence in nursing, you're getting like a little over like 1,500 results, which is way better than trying to wade through 7,000 results to find something about nursing. In these results, you'll also see you have things called periodicals and some are academic journals. You're going to need to find something that says academic journal. And sometimes you'll see this in this limit to this section thing of scholarly peer-reviewed journals. When you click on this, and now it's time to like start filtering out your searches. And think of it as like online shopping, just to like help you. You already know like what size shoe you are, so you can start like clicking off shoe size. You already know I need a scholarly peer-reviewed article, so let's just click on that. And now anything that comes up is going to be like what I need for this topic. You already know that like all the topics are related to it. But now you know after clicking off scholarly peer-reviewed, everything is scholarly peer-reviewed article coming up. You can also do that in the source type thing on this left-hand side and just bring up academic journal articles. And will bring up scholarly peer-reviewed articles. It's just a different name for it. Something else you might want to keep in mind is this, the date, publication date. And you can move the slider down and you want to bring up really the most recent information, just so you're up to date on the most current trends and it's the most relevant to your research. For health sciences, usually it's like last 5 or 10 years, but the more recent, the better. And another thing, since we're getting close on time, just from the results list, you'll see that some say PDF full text, others say HTML full text, and some have this find it at CUNY. The PDF full text and the HTML full text means you can read it right here in the database. Actually, this one's a book review. You see it there. But if you see PDF full text, HTML full text, you can read it right here online. If you see find it at CUNY, if you click on that blue button, it's going to bring you to the one search where we're going to see if we have it in our database or not. It looks like, oh, I clicked on this article. We have to request the article via interlibrary loan. And that means it's going to be a few days before you get this article. It's still free. You should never pay for an article while you're at LaGuardia. We'll get it for you. some way or another. So don't waste your time unless you're really not getting articles with the Find at CUNY. You can click off in this limit to section, the full text. And then and one other thing, just so you know, if you click on an article title, you're going to be able to read it right away. So I just clicked on the article. I'll go over this part a bit quickly. So if you have questions later on about different parts of these articles, ask us on chat. You'll see it has the title here. There's the author, even the author's email address. So it shows you the journal the article is published in. And if you click on that journal title, it'll give you some more information, especially about if the journal is a peer-reviewed journal or not. You have some subject terms. These terms are really good. If you like this article, or if you see an article you like, take a look at these subject terms, and these are other keywords you might want to copy and paste into your own search. But in the middle, near the bottom of it, you see the abstract of the article. And this is a short paragraph that is going to summarize the whole article. This article is 10 pages long. You don't want to necessarily start reading the article and find out that's not like 5 pages in, it's not relevant to you at all or not. Take the 30 seconds to read this abstract and you'll decide like, okay, this abstract makes sense to me. It's on my topic. I'm going to read this full article. It's just like a shortcut that'll cover all the important parts of the article. It's also what you'll need for the assignment to copy and paste into your portfolio. To actually see the article, on the left-hand side, you'll see the PDF full text. And when it loads, my computer downloads the article right away, but in this big gray space, you should be able to read the article. And it'll look something like this. It'll have, this one starts with the person's, with the author and their like accreditations. It starts off with the abstract. They give you the title in here. And then they start you off with the article. They'll give you a little bit about the author too. And they'll also give like the journal name and date and page numbers. For any good academic article, you should see all this information on the first page. They all follow the same format. They have different layouts. Some might give you the title on the top or something, but they're all structured the same way. And you can find all this information easily. As you scroll through the article and read it, you'll see they also have these headers, background, purpose, like why they're doing this research. And this is all information that you don't necessarily need to read in depth, but like skim it over and just get an idea, get used to the words that they're using. Like all this research data, personally, I wouldn't even read it for my own research. I would just skip to anything that looks interesting to me and closely read and slowly read those things. The most important parts of any article to read are the background or any introduction, because that will introduce you to the topic and make sure you understand what they're about to talk about. And then I would just really skip down to the bottom to any findings, which are where they explain their findings a bit, or they'll either give you the data for it. I like to read these parts where there's more text about it. They also give you a discussion where they talk about why these findings are important and what this means. Like they'll highlight like the important parts of the findings. So sort of meaning that you don't have to decide for yourself what these findings mean. And then the conclusion too, because then they summarize how the findings relate to their thesis and how that thesis relates to that background information that they talked about. So it combines it all at the end. So you keep that in mind when you're reading this article, when you're reading articles in general. You don't need to sit and read it word for word. You can just skim it and look for any words that look important to you, and then focus on that paragraph instead. And one last thing that you'll need from the database is the citation of the article. You can make a citation up from scratch based off of all the information in this like the search result page, but they also have in the right-hand side the cite option, and they give you some pre-made citations. So you will be using APA for this class. And here they give you a pre-made citation that has the citation almost done right. These databases usually mix up the title and just tell you the title. You can always, if you're not sure about a citation, you can always check it with our guides. And you'll see that the examples that we have here, the titles are mostly lowercased, unless it's after punctuation or a proper noun. Everything else is lowercase. You'll see like, it's just lowercase, different words. And here in the citation, they have everything capitalized. So it'd be up to you to go back and turn each, like take out the T in tool and put a lowercase t in there and that type of thing. If you're not sure what to do, just ask us in the library and we'll help you out there or tell you what to do too. So that covers everything pretty quickly. Does anyone have any questions?